73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78.
What are you looking at, senor? Did you get eyeballs for Christmas?
Well, 2 Mexicans on horses and someone that looks like a Roman foot soldier just crashed through the wall of my living room, so it's kind of a natural inquisitive reaction to look at you, wouldn't you say?
You have a nice living room. I like the flamingos. They add a nice touch to the decor.
Thanks. I chose them myself.
You have a funny accent, senor. Is this your stereo?
Yeah, it is.
Do you have any Pink Floyd?
Why don't you turn it on and find out for yourself?
What is this?
I guess it was only Guns N' Roses today.
Any trouble, boy?
No, old man. Thought I was having trouble with my adding. It's alright now. Now, where was I up to? 80, 81, 82, 83.
Everybody knows the world ain't right. Down on your knees, get up and fight.
G'day, Rockhound here! It's been pretty quiet from Embark Studios for the last few weeks since we had the closed alpha playtest for the finals back in the start of October. Those of us in the official Discord for the finals have been enjoying some curious and ongoing Easter eggs being delivered via images from the Embark art team, and just recently they've provided some data about the closed alpha, as well as given us a further announcement about their third project, which isn't a game, but a game creation platform. I'm going to cover all 3 of these things in this video. Firstly, let's look at the data from the finals closed alpha playtest, which they've shown us through this infographic that was dropped into the finals Discord. The closed alpha saw over 600,000 in-game kills. The majority of those would have come from guns, however the data for those isn't shown, but in perhaps what you might call the best of the rest, over 12,000 kills came from the heavy builds RPG, over 8,000 from the light build sword, and 5,000 by flamethrower. I reckon the large drop-off to other weapons like the sledgehammer is not only about weapon choice, but also partly a symptom of weapon balancing being a bit off during the closed alpha. Player-wise, there were almost 26,000 rounds played, and one contestant won 218 of those out of 339 that they played, which equates to 56 hours of in-game time. That's for a 4-day playtest period, folks. What a lunatic. There were a total of 84,176 revives, which only equates to just over 3 per round, and that's less than 2 per team, which is actually pretty dismal really, and despite one contestant completing 40 revives in a single match, GG to that player, I think this reflects pretty well that the revive system needs to be revamped to make it easier for players to revive in a way that doesn't make the combat more frenetic. The character build results came out pretty much as I expected, which is the medium build being favoured by far compared to the others, and the heavy build being the least favoured. Balancing of the builds, as I mentioned in my video about the things that Embark Studios can do to improve the finals before the next playtest, we'll see a lot of these things change for the better. We then get some gadget data with over 230,000 zip lines being cast, which at nearly 10 per round is less than I would have expected. Over $1 billion was cashed out during the closed alpha, with the highest cash out in one round being 85,550, which is huge. I think the highest total cash out I saw in a round was about 30,000, where we got totally stomped by another team. So that's the stats from the closed alpha. Hopefully we'll hear in the next week or two some sort of timeline from the Embark team for when we can expect the next playtest. Again, with it now being November, I am not expecting to see a launch of the game in 2022, but perhaps we might hope for the next playtest to be before the end of the year. If that's the case, I reckon it would be reasonable to expect the Embark team to provide some sort of update before the end of November about where we are in the timeline for the game's release. Meanwhile, those of of us in the Finals Discord have been kept entertained by Embark's art team through an ongoing series of Easter eggs hidden within artwork for the game. When I last covered this, we had been rewarded for completing Tier 1A of Level 2 of the Easter eggs with this image named Weapons, which shows an M60, an AK rifle, and a MAC-10 machine pistol, which seem to be adorned with Western-style skins related to the Osboo's in-game sponsor. Within the image, we found what's known as a pigpen cipher, which is a geometric simple substitution cipher, which we translated to the letters F Kramer, and we also discovered a little drawing under the Osboo's logo which shows a bag of flour and an egg. These led us to the Italian movie director Gianfranco Parolini, who made spaghetti western movies under the pseudonym of Frank Kramer. This was backed up by writing on the side of the M60, which is the end of the words Commissar X, which was a series of Bond-like movies also made by Gianfranco Parolini. Primer marks on some of the M60 rounds mark out the numbers 1, 9, 6 and 2, which told us to look at the year 1962, and we found 3 films by Gianfranco in that year. A new image of an AK called Candy eventually gave us a code which, when translated as hexadecimal, gave us an anagram for Yakuza A. This sent us down a path looking at Japanese movie director Akira Kurosawa, who created a movie called Drunken Angel, which included what might be considered the archetype for a Yakuza character. He also created Yojimbo, which is the movie that Italian director Sergio Leone based the famous western A Fistful of Dollars on. The image also included 9 bullets scattered around on the floor, but we couldn't work out what they meant. Meanwhile, we discovered markings in the lower part of the image that seemed to mark out what looks like a music score. We got stuck for a while at this point, then we got given another similar image called Extra Candy of the MAC-10 machine pistol, which this time has 7 bullets. It also had a signature in the lower right and the Roman numerals representing 25, as well as an 11, and there were various other numbers scattered around the image. The art team also provided us with this little Roman Namatama image as a further clue. We made little progress for days at this stage until Discord member Serpinger, who solved the previous level, spotted that the signature belonged to German composer Ludwig van Beethoven. When a search for Beethoven was combined with the number 25, a sonata was found along with opus number 79, and after a few false trails, that pretty quickly threw us back to the movie 79 AD by Gianfranco Parolini. Serpinger then worked out that the password was the number 79 in Roman numerals, a step that we hadn't considered almost 2 weeks prior, and not even when we were given the Roman Namatam image did we think about that. However, we got there in the end. It was just a pretty torturous journey. We now have a new image, again with the 3 weapons, the M60, the AK and the MAC-10 machine pistol, but based around the ISIL-T in-game sponsor instead of the Osboo's one, and with Soviet-era space race adornments. So far we've worked out that this is Cyrillic for the Russian spacecraft Luna 3 from 1959, which took the first image of the far side of the moon, and we've realised that these triangles probably point us to the English prog rock band Pink Floyd and their album The Dark Side of the Moon. Curiously, just as I was making this video, I discovered that 118 could also point to Pink Floyd's song Empty Spaces, which is track 8 on their 11th album, The Wall. The track contains a hidden message from band member Roger Waters, which is reversed. Now, we're still investigating that one, and if you want to join us in the Easter egg hunt and also get a first look at new art for the finals as we answer the puzzles, come and join us in the finals official Discord. Lastly, Embark Studios recently announced that they are now ready for players to sign up for their third project. Now, the third project isn't a game as such, but it is a creative platform. In a Medium post, Celia Lewis from the Embark team writes, "We're very excited at the prospect of putting creative power in the hands of players and allowing them to intuitively create interactive, playful experiences without programming knowledge or an elaborate 3D editor. This project is our attempt to do just that. For a while now, we've kept this project fairly under wraps as it is still early in development. We haven't even picked a name for it yet, but despite it still being a work in progress, we think there is a lot of creative fun to be had. That's why we've decided now is the right time for us to start building a small, early community, and you might just be part of it. We're looking for a group of excited players who love creative sandboxes and are interested in getting involved early in the development process. Our creative playground is a first-person, multiplayer online universe dedicated to letting you unleash your creativity. This is the place to create crazy chaos with your friends, build castles and space stations, talk to and customize lovable creatures, design engaging game-like challenges, and much more. If this creative platform from Embark sounds like your thing, you can sign up for early access to it from the Medium post, a link to which I've put in the video description below. If you enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like, and if you'd like to get the latest updates about the finals and Embark Studios' other projects, please subscribe. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Kia kaha, stay strong.